minds, my dears.
What the hell is wrong with you?
What the hell is wrong with you?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Ryno's Rants. We are coming to you live on Memorial Day itself. Again, before we start, we just want to take a moment to, honor all of those who have given their lives in defense of this country to allow us to do the things we do, to have the barbecues and the 3-day weekend that we had this weekend, for us to do, Lance and I, to do this podcast and all of this stuff that we would not be able to do without the sacrifice of those brave men and women over the years who have paid the ultimate price to let us do what we do. So again, big shout out to and remembrance to all of the soldiers who have, again, given their lives in service of this country. Kind of a slow few days here, of course, with the holiday and stuff. So, but there was one thing that I did want to talk about here tonight. A rumor that kind of popped up here the last few days, right before the weekend. And that being the Vikings' potential interest in one free agent guard, Dalton Risner, from formerly of the Denver Broncos. Now, I was a big fan of Risner coming out of college. My worthless opinion, good evening, welcome. And absolutely, like I was saying, I was a big fan of Risner coming out of college. He was a guy I wanted Minnesota to take a look at. Thought he would have been a good fit here. Now, hey, Justin, happy Memorial Day. Welcome. Now, with Risner, of course, Denver elected not to bring him back. Sean Payton apparently didn't want him. But just kind of looking to see here, there's a few things that are kind of playing into there maybe being a little more than just smoke here. Good evening, Ant. Good evening, Isaac. Only allowed 3 sacks in his career. That's some of the stuff I'm going to get to here very shortly. But starting out, I guess there's, of course, right now our current left guard is Ezra Cleveland. And, of course, Cleveland is going into the final year of his contract. Now, there has been word out there that Cleveland still believes he can be a tackle in this league and wants to be paid tackle type money when his new contract rolls around, even though he has not played tackle in the NFL. To me, that doesn't sound like he's being overly realistic about this whole situation. What's the asking price for Risner? I don't know what a guy could get him for right now. Probably a pretty decent deal. Earlier, I had seen something, whether it was Spotrac or someplace like that, market value on him is like $9 million a year. Now, it being where it is in the process here with, of course, free agency over and done with, the draft over and done with, there's probably a decent possibility that a guy could get him for less than that. Bring him in here on a couple-year deal. The things that Kwesi has been doing with a lot of these free agents we brought in this year, those, he fits that mold. He's in that 25, 26-year-old range coming off first contract. Maybe something to prove. You could probably get him, I would say, at least for this year, with some signing bonus stuff and things like that, a cap hit probably in that $5 million range, maybe, depending upon what he's getting from interest from other places and things like that. One thing that is working in our favor here is our offensive line coach, Chris Cooper, was his offensive line coach when he first started in Denver for, up until last year. And Cooper, I believe, actually played with him too for, I think Cooper's final year was Risner's first, if I remember well. So there is, you can start connecting the dots and everything here. You can pick him up. I think you'd be able to get Risner on a pretty decent deal. There's enough going here. Now, what does that mean, again, for Ezra Cleveland if we were to bring him in? Do we try to move Cleveland and get some sort of draft capital back for him? Are we able to? Do we keep them both? Personally, I think at the moment we could afford to keep both Risner and Cleveland on the roster, which could potentially mean that Ed Ingram maybe gets kicked to a backup spot over on the right side and you move Cleveland back over there. There's a lot of moving parts here that could happen with this whole situation, but looking at some of the numbers, I guess just from last year alone, Pro Football Reference of their list of top guards for 2022, Cleveland was the 22nd overall, and Risner was 25th overall. Now, if you look at the PFF rankings for 2022, Cleveland had an overall grade of 73.4, which was 8th among guards. But the problem with Cleveland has always been he has a sub 60 in pass blocking grades all 3 years he has played. Cleveland is his bread and butter has always been the run game and struggled in the passing game. Last year he gave up 5 sacks. Now, if we turn around and look at Risner's PFF grades, last year his overall grade was 61.1, but he only gave up 3 sacks. So, and he has 4 straight years between 69.6 and 72.6 in pass blocking grade. So basically Risner and Cleveland are flip-flops. Cleveland very good against the run, not so great against the pass. Risner very good against the pass, struggles a bit in run coverage. Myself personally, I think it's worth it to bring him in. Right now we only have 4 guards on the team, and usually you're going to want to carry, an extra one beyond that. One benefit with Risner is he can also play center. He hasn't played it, I don't believe, in the NFL, but he did play some in college. Dugan is the answer. Dugan's always the answer. Their fiery bear hair pantheon, whatever you want to be called tonight. Looking back, Cleveland and Risner are both about the same age. Risner was drafted 2nd round 2019, pick 41. Cleveland was taken in 2020, 2nd round pick 58. So, both guys were solid players. I honestly don't think we are going to be able to, be able to bring Cleveland back in 2024, especially if he thinks he deserves tackle money for playing nothing but guard his entire career. I mean, yeah, he was a tackle coming out of when he came out of Boise State, but I don't think he's played 1 snap in a regular season game, at least, at tackle. So don't know how he thinks he's going to get tackle money, but If somebody's willing to give it to him, I guess good luck to you, sir, and we will see you down the road sometime. We brought in Oliver. O-line should be fine. Yeah, I mean, you got Oliver's going to be out on the outside helping out there, and our tackles aren't the problem. It's as we all know, it's been that interior offensive line, whether it's been Bradbury or Cleveland, or especially earlier on in the year, Ed Ingram over on the right side. Now, Ingram started playing better towards the end of the year. Am I ready to just hand him that right guard job and say, here, it's yours? No. So, if we were to bring in a guy like Risner, you would have him, you'd have Cleveland, and you have Ingram. Okay, you guys, the three of you were fighting it out for the 2 starting guard spots. May the best man win. Whoever can play either side can do that. Competition always brings out the best in everybody. And the biggest thing we need to improve on still is our interior offensive line, especially with Kirk still here for at least another year. There's been too many times over the last few years that center pressure comes up right up the middle, and Kirk has no time to do what he needs to do. So I'm all for it. I don't know. Seems like the consensus from you guys, most of you guys in the chat, is the same. But and we start talking money again. We still have, within the next few days, I would assume we would have some sort of resolution on the Dalvin Cook situation. Now, I did hear, damn it, you're late. You're still here. Hey, we're still going, Doc. You're good. I did hear something over the weekend about there being a possibility now that Dalvin Cook could stick around. Personally, I think that's posturing by the Vikings, probably because they have not gotten, trade offers to what they think, they should be getting for him. So it's like, well, maybe we'll just keep him. Well, when you re-signed Alexander Madison, you have Ty Chandler, you drafted Dwayne McBride, and you still got Kene Nwangwu, plus CJ Ham. We are not carrying 6 running backs. So something's going to go there. I mean, did we carry 4 last year? I believe we did, but except then Chandler got hurt, so I think we had 3 for part of the year. But at this point, the Vikings would be lucky to get a 12-pack of Bud Light for Cook. I mean, I've had this opinion, and I know a lot of you guys, we've talked about this too. If you can get anything for Dalvin Cook at this point, you take it, because you're also, especially if you wait another 4 days until June 1st, we're going to end up getting, if we can trade him for anything, we're getting $11 million in salary cap relief. Now, if we just cut him loose, I think it's 9, but even 9 million, because, we still have to figure out a way to re-sign or do whatever we're going to do with Danielle Hunter too, because I don't think Hunter's going to show up and play on that deal he's got right now. So that's going to take some money out of the thing. But I don't know. It's one of those things. The rumor mill just kind of floats around here right now. It's a slow point. We had, the start of the OTAs. Now we've got a little bit of a break. I think there's another set of OTAs this week, if I'm not mistaken. Mandatory mini camps will be coming up. That's going to be the interesting thing there to see when, if a Hunter would show up to mandatory mini camp, if not. Dalvin Cook, would not expect, even if he's still on the roster, I would not expect him to show up yet at that point in time. We know Justin Jefferson was out for the first section of OTAs. A lot of Twitter and Viking social media started losing their mind. Oh my God, he's pissed. He's not happy. He's this, and everything else. I'm not concerned right now with Jefferson not being there last week. If it comes down, he's not here this week or he's not showing up in other things, then you might want to start sounding the alarm bell a little bit. But these are optional practices. It's nice to have everybody there. It's not the end of the world if he's not. But we got to get Hunter handled. I agree, Doc, 100%. Right now, without Danielle Hunter, we don't have a lot as far as edge rush goes, at least proven-wise. Marcus Davenport is a hot and cold guy. He can have a very good year, then the next year, what do you have, a half a sack? Last year was it. We still have Pat Jones II, who has shown up in limited capacity in the opportunities that he's gotten. DJ Wanham's still there, but Wanham, of course, is also going into the final year of his contract. You have the kid out of Army that I think is going to make the roster. Then you've got some of these other French guys. Luigi Vallon. Hey, Skull for Life. Happy Memorial Day to you as well. There's, we've got guys that just we don't, other than Hunter, we have nothing proven right now. So you have to get that taken care of, Doc. I agree. Beyond that, I don't see too many other moves being made at this point in time as far as bringing in players. Like I said, I still think the Dalvin Cook thing has to be taken care of. It will be taken care of probably. Today is the 29th. So within the net, I would say by this show next week, we should have at least, if not a full resolution, a good idea of what's going on with the Dalvin Cook situation, because we'll be past to June 1st. And one thing or the other will have taken place. I think he's either traded or they just straight up release him. Worthless opinion. If we don't pay Hunter, somebody else will. That is exactly it. He's going to get paid somewhere. And he was hurt for a year and a half, but the guy has taken relatively team-friendly deals every time that he's been up for a extension or restructure, things like that. And he wants to get paid, like a top 10 edge rusher, which he is, which he's always has been, injuries notwithstanding. So I don't hold that against him at all. And I've said this before too. I never will fault a player for trying to get as much money as he can, because we all know this is a violent game. The hits and everything else will take a toll on your body, and you will pay for it later on in life. So I don't fault them at all for that. And it comes down to a business decision. A lot of times with the team, is this guy worth the money that he wants? Can we pay him what he's worth? And that's all stuff that Kwesi and Rob Brzezinski have to figure out how to make this stuff work. We've all seen Rob Brzezinski is probably the best cap guy in the league. Some of the stuff he's done with the situations he's been put in to get these guys in here, the last few years when we've been up against the cap and we've still been able to bring players in, things like that. He's done a masterful job basically making chicken salad out of the chicken shit that Spielman and Zimmer kept throwing on his plate. But And to Quasey's credit, he's been trying to clear up a lot of this stuff, clean up those contracts. So we don't have to keep doing that creative, pushing money into future years and all that other stuff. By 2024, we should be in decent cap shape. Of course, we have to pay Jefferson. We have to pay Hawkinson, both of which negotiations are ongoing. Can't think the D-line will even be decent without Hunter. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody could jump up and surprise us, Doc, but I don't want to go into the season with zero proven pass rush ability coming off the outside. And right now, Hunter's all we have that's proven, like I mentioned earlier. D will drop big time without Hunter. On the plus side, Anthony, it can't drop much further than it was last year. I made the comment here a couple weeks ago. I think just removing Donatel and going to Flores is probably worth 7 or 8 positions in defensive rankings. So just having him alone gets us up into the lower 20s, I would think. Hunter's a must sign. I do believe it's in the works. Skull for life, I think so too. Flores has made no bones about the fact he wants Hunter there. He wants to work with Hunter this year. But speaking about Flores, we'll kind of pivot here a little bit. I don't know I'm sure you guys probably saw some of the comments that came out from OTAs, and Lance and I touched on this on Friday's show a little bit too, but just the way it sounds, how the defense has been performing at OTAs in the first couple of days. Christian Darrisaw came out and said, we never saw any of this last year. We were never prepared for what opposing defenses were going to throw at us. We never had that stuff brought in during the week to prepare us to play these games. Because apparently Donatel did the same thing in practice that he did during the week, and that's just that 3-high shell, drop everything back, glorified prevent defense thing. Verbal type thing. Hunter's camp has been told they would be taken care of after the first. That's very likely, Doc. I think, the Dalvin Cook domino is the first one that has to fall for that. And once that does, like I said, if we can trade him for a bag of footballs and a 7th-round pick, that's $11 million cleared off the cap. That $11 million, along with the $5 million that Hunter's already making, you make that up. You got him. You'll get him happy for this year. Put a lot of it into a signing bonus, so it lowers the cap hit a little bit, but get him to a point where he's making his 20 to 25 mil or whatever area it's going to be in total value when it gets there. Doing that, then that still leaves you some of the money we have right now to bring Risner in. And, we still have that magic bullet. If worst comes to worst, we have not yet touched Brian O'Neill's contract, which we can restructure at any point in time. We don't even have to go to him and ask him about it. And I believe, Justin, if you're still on here, help me out on this one. But I think, what is it we can get out of O'Neill by restructuring? Isn't that like $9 million or $10 million as well? It's somewhere in that range, I think. I saw the numbers before, but I can't remember it right now. But anyway, like I said, kind of a short show this week. Not a lot going on, especially with the holiday and everything else. But just wanted to hit this. So A, we had a show, and B, since it was one of the latest rumors anyway of things going on. Like I said, hopefully by next week we have more to talk about with either the Hunter situation, the Dalvin Cook situation, combination of stuff. We'll see what happens. Again, make sure that you catch Brunswick's Best on Wednesday night, where he takes a look at the greatest players in Vikings history. Again, this week, it's going to be a short list because there's only been one, but we will do a tribute to the great Fran Tarkenton this week on Brunswick's Best as he looks at number 10. And of course, studio show as usual, Friday night, 6 p.m. Keep yourself posted. Working on a potential interview here coming up, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I got to get some times figured out and things like that, but I think you guys will enjoy that if we can make it work. Want to thank all you guys for taking a few minutes out of your holiday, the end of your holiday weekend, to join us. As Doc always says, the usual gang of idiots. I love you guys. Want to give another shout out to our Filipino fan club. I know they're watching. And BB, Jen, Nonoy, love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. We've gone international. Glad to have you guys as part of the show as well. I know you don't comment, but I know you're watching. So big shout out to you guys. Beyond that, have a good night, everybody. Stay safe. Enjoy what's left of your weekend. Remember, Brunswick's Best on Wednesday and episode 112 on Friday. So with that, we will see you guys later this week.